Every day, millions of coffee lovers press a button and enjoy a perfect cup of espresso. But have you ever wondered what journey a tiny coffee capsule takes to reach your cup? From remote hillsides in Brazil and Vietnam to bustling factories around the world, this journey is a story of precision and innovation. The road from a humble coffee cherry to the espresso in your cup is anything but simple, and we're about to explore it here at Whole Process. To understand this winding journey, we first need to meet the company behind it. If you've ever used a coffee machine, chances are you've encountered Nespresso, whose parent company, Nestlé, is at the heart of this caffeinated adventure. They are producing enough coffee grounds every day to brew over 1 billion cups, powered by thousands of farmers, state-of-the-art machines, and centuries of craftsmanship. But how did Nespresso perfect the coffee capsule? Well, it all began in 1986, when Nespresso finally birthed its solution to a unique problem. Coffee machines were made for shops, being bulky and completely inefficient for home use. Honestly, enjoying a cup of Italian coffee in the comfort of your home was more of a hassle rather than going to a diner and buying it. They spent years meticulously trying to figure out how to make their dream of instant brew coffee real. Their main goal being to bring accessibility in people's lives. In fact, in their motto, they said they wanted to enable anyone to create the perfect cup of espresso coffee, just like a skilled barista. And when they finally had their breakthrough, everything changed and global demand only grew over the past 30 years. If you're like us, you might be wondering, what made them so great? Well, the perks were immense. There was consistency since each capsule contained a precise amount of pre-ground coffee. This made sure that every time you purchased one, you got the exact same coffee taste on your taste buds. Not to mention the convenience, simply insert a capsule in and press a button. Really can't get simpler than that. But did you know you can brew an espresso coffee in less than 15 seconds? Way faster than any of its competitors by cutting their brew time in half. In fact, since these capsules are sealed airtight, there's a lesser chance of having old woody coffee by preserving the coffee's aroma and preventing oxidation. However, sourcing the perfect coffee beans to achieve this wasn't the easiest of tasks. Trust us. The journey begins in the coffee-growing regions, where timing, terrain, and tradition all play a role in bringing the cherries from the tree to your cup. And while it may be hard to imagine, the true origin of coffee comes from a small and delicate white flower. Once the flower blooms and bears fruit, we get these famed coffee cherries. Coffee thrives in the fertile soils of the so-called bean belt, where warm temperatures and plentiful rainfall create the perfect conditions for growth. From the misty hills of Colombia to the sun-soaked farms of Brazil, where does your coffee begin its journey? Throughout the year, Nespresso's coffee experts journey across South America, Asia, and Africa, finding the finest beans from key regions. But you're definitely going to be surprised, and maybe even a bit confused because this search is never truly finished. Yes, year after year, new origins are discovered, ensuring that every cup of Nespresso delivers exceptional quality and flavor. We're not complaining though. The cherries usually get ready for harvest between October and December. Thankfully for farmers, it's hard to miss the indicating color, a bright red signaling ripeness. In countries with distinct growing seasons like Colombia, there is also a secondary crop, usually occurring between April and June. Nespresso values when the coffee beans are picked by hand, mainly because the resulting beans are premium quality. The farmers get paid extra for this though, and using either strip picking or selective picking, they get the job done. Other than the quality, another major factor is the topography of certain regions, which makes machine harvesting impractical. However, in flatter areas like Brazil, machines can shake cherries from the trees, speeding up production to meet modern demands. All the cherries fall into collection baskets below and are then taken for inspection, where the ripe and unripe cherries are separated, the unripe ones often showing distinct yellow or green shades. While the coffee cherries may have been harvested, they're still not quite ready to become the espresso in your cup. The picking process often leaves them with dirt and debris. So the cherries first undergo a thorough cleaning and inspection before moving on to the next critical stages of processing. Separation. Gravity separators allow the ripe cherries to sink, while the defective and mostly hollow ones float. The winning contenders of this are then depulped, which is a fancy way to say that their skins and pulp are removed in order to harvest the coffee beans within. These freshly harvested beans have a slimy coating on top called mucilage, which is later removed through either fermentation or the good old method of washing. After being thoroughly cleaned and inspected, the beans are spread out on flat patios, kind of like sun tanning at the beach. This is done to make any residual water evaporate and ensure that each bean dries evenly. It's crucial to reduce the moisture content to around 11%. This way, the bean's flavor gets preserved and prevents mold from forming, safeguarding the quality of your freshly brewed coffee. Once fully dried, the beans are hulled to remove the parchment layer. They are then weighed and undergo a thorough sorting process, being classified by size, color, weight, and, most importantly, quality. Not all coffee beans are created equal, but have you stopped to wonder why? This step ensures that only the finest beans make it through, so that when you inhale the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee, you're tasting decades of craftsmanship in a single sip. Once the beans have passed quality control at the farm and at the production center in Switzerland, the next step is creating a unique blend. This involves carefully selecting beans from different origins and then combining them to really intensify these individual characteristics. From here, the beans move on to the age-old process of roasting, a step essential for developing the coffee's aroma and flavor. Without roasting, the beans would remain very bland. So thanks to this step, we can actually taste the coffee flavor in our mouths, transforming it into the aromatic, flavorful coffee we all love. The beans are loaded into industrial-sized rotating drums and spun at a steady speed under carefully controlled temperatures. Any fluctuation can alter the taste, so the process is done gradually to get that optimal color and aroma development. The development happens due to the Maillard reaction. It is kind of the most crucial part in developing the flavor and browning of coffee during roasting. This non-enzymatic reaction occurs when amino acids and reducing sugars in the coffee beans are exposed to heat, creating a wide array of volatile flavor compounds. It probably smells heavenly when this is done. The lighter roasts retain more caffeine, perfect for late-night energy boosts when you're on those tight deadlines, while darker roasts offer bolder flavors that the coffee fanatics love. In some blends, Nespresso uses split roasting each origin separately to allow every bean to reach its full potential. Once roasted, the beans are rapidly cooled to prevent over-roasting and preserve their flavor. Mainly because while we're on board with roasting the beans, we'd still prefer not drinking burnt charcoal. Next comes grinding, a crucial step that directly affects taste and extraction. The roasted beans are ground to a specific particle size depending on the brewing method. For capsules, the grind must be uniform to ensure optimal extraction, and it is carried out in a deoxygenated environment to preserve aroma. The degree of grinding influences the flow rate of water through the coffee. Finer grinds slow it down, producing a fuller-bodied, more intense flavor, while coarser grinds allow faster extraction, creating a lighter cup. Accurate and consistent grinding is essential to balance acidity, bitterness, body, and aromatic notes. Now comes one of the most satisfying and almost magical moments in the coffee's journey. The capsules are lined up, perfectly aligned, ready to glide down the conveyor system. Watching them move in sync is almost hypnotic, like a carefully choreographed dance. This step transforms what could be a mundane task into a display of ingenuity, a perfect example of how human creativity and modern machinery work together to bring coffee from bean to cup. Once fully aligned, the capsules meet the dosing nozzle, which deposits an exact, carefully measured amount of ground coffee into each one. Precision is everything here. There is absolutely no room for error, but it's not likely there will be any because of the use of programmed machines. Each capsule is weighed and double-checked to match the guide on its back, guaranteeing that every coffee drinker gets the exact same portion and the same richness. It may be a small detail for us, but for Nespresso, keeping quality in check is its first goal. Next comes the mechanical tamper, our personal favorite, a deceptively simple machine that compresses the coffee evenly inside each capsule. This step may seem subtle, but it's essential because it creates uniform density in the capsules, which will directly impact the extraction process when hot water meets the coffee in your machine. A perfectly tamped capsule creates the ideal resistance, unlocking the full depth of delicate crema. That's not the end though. The capsules now move to the sealing station, where foil lids are meticulously clamped onto each one using heat and pressure. This is not just a mechanical step. It's the moment where freshness, aroma, and the essence of all the hard work come together. An airtight seal locks in everything that makes the coffee so special, protecting it until it reaches your cup. The sealed capsules glide along conveyor belts for cooling, preparing them for final inspection. Weight, visual appearance, and quality control checks are performed meticulously to meet both company standards and government regulations. For extra protection, some capsules are wrapped in a thin plastic film. This additional layer shields them from moisture, light, and odors, making sure every capsule arrives as fresh and aromatic as the day it was filled. Once fully prepared, the capsules are carefully grouped into smaller boxes according to their type and flavor, and then loaded into larger shipment boxes. From there, they embark on the final leg of their journey, from the production line to stores, ready to become part of your daily ritual, because they certainly are for us. What starts as a humble ground bean transforms into a perfectly engineered capsule, a tiny packaged vessel carrying the culmination of months of hard work, centuries of craftsmanship, and the joy of coffee lovers everywhere, just so you can taste the perfect blend of culture in every sip. As always, thanks for watching Whole Process, and see you next time.